Welcome back to the Markout podcast, leaking the thoughts of the real wrestling fans. I'm here with a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Phillip McCullough. How you doing, Phil?
Good evening. Special guest indeed.
A very special guest. Knows a lot about wrestling, knows a lot about some random shit as well.
Shit.
Brought Phil in to heat up the show, talk about some things that he is big on, like TNA.
Yep.
What do you think's so special about TNA?
Well, I don't.
You don't? You
No.
think it's gone a bit downhill recently?
Well, no. I've watched TNA for what? What year is it now?
I mean,
2015.
2015, yeah.
2000. So what? 7 years. I just like the fact that it was different from what WWE. Because let's face it, when you're just an average fan in this country, you've only got WWE on Sky.
Yeah.
And that
You've
was
got
it.
no alternatives, really.
That was literally. I mean, you got these people banging on about New Japan Pro and Dragon's Gate and Ring of Honor, but if you don't know how to find it or don't know what you're looking for, don't even know it exists, that's your
At
options.
least you had that alternative, like
that's your options.
You could go on to Challenge, is it? Challenge
TV.
I don't know. Do they still
TV.
show it on Challenge?
Yeah. Still on Challenge, yeah. But I mean, when I started watching it, just trying to think back to who was like the main storyline people. So like Billy Gunn was in it. He was Kip Sop or whatever it was, or Mr. Cute Kip. That's who he was, Cute Kip at the time.
Gosh.
And AJ and Christopher Daniels and Kazarian and all.
The people that, if you think about TNA, you think of people like AJ Styles, Kazarian.
Yeah, guys who are actually doing some like badass stuff.
You think of Samoa Joe. You think
of Kurt Angle as well. I mean, Kurt Angle's been there for about 10 years now. He's been there a long time. I used to watch it and just take the piss. Really, just me and my brother Simon just used to, look at Jeff Jarrett, the champion again. Oh God, this is rubbish. And how, then you had like people like Stevie Richards and his feud with Abyss, which at the time I was like, oh God, not Stevie Richards again. But he was he's a really good worker, and him and Abyss had some good stuff, and then it moved into.
Loved him in ECW.
Yeah,
Stevie Richards.
Yeah, well, I read his I say book, or I read his shoot interview. He come across as quite a nice person, actually.
Yeah,
did ask Steve. But then there was things like things that were being done that weren't being done, if you know what I mean. Like TNA, I think now they're famous for their factions. They always want a group of bad guys and a group of good guys, or when
like Aces and Eights.
Yeah, I mean, when I started watching it was World Elite. So what they'd done, they'd had Eric Young, who was the pantomime comedy act.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
turned bad guy and beat everyone up with a baseball bat. And then form the World Elite. But, let's not take it away. Eric Young's a really good wrestler, really good. And he had people like Magnus, Rob Terry, Doug Williams, the Japanese chap who I forget his name now. There was like the Arabian chap who was in it as well, who basically I call them the Japanese and the Arabian chap because they got beat every week. But there was about 9 of them, World Elite, and it was good. And it was something different that you'd get from what the others were serving up. Yeah. And then unfortunately Bischoff and Hogan come, and they had a new faction which was Immortal, but then another new bad guy faction of Fortune. You're like, hang on, how many baddie factions do you need? Because sooner or later one of them are going to have to fight each
overload,
other.
Yeah.
Overload with bad guys.
Didn't they join as well at some point?
Yes. So let's have 87 bad guys and one good guy being Sting.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, you can...
And he was also in the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, see, that is probably got to be one of the best factions known to humankind, isn't it? The Main Event Mafia, where it actually says... It's a bit like Hammerite does what it says on the tin. You know what I mean? It's there. You've got guys who have been in the main events, world champions, and they're all in the same gang.
Yeah, they had Nash, Angle,
Booker,
Samoa Joe. Was it Samoa Joe?
I'm not sure.
Sort of in and out.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he was a regular. And Steiner.
Yeah, Steiner. Yeah.
Who? Which was it was good, and and the stories were good, and it was written fairly decently. One thing I did notice was after a while, like kind of storylines just started. Like, for instance, I don't know what was going on with Matt Morgan because he seemed to be like really good. And
where's he at the minute?
Oh, he's retired. He's retired now. He's retired from wrestling. He does like
there was some buzz about him for a while, like
property developing, I think, or something on the lines of
okay.
that. But like he's been retired for a couple of years now.
You don't expect that, do you?
Well, no,
Matt Morgan, property developer.
But like if you look at it, he didn't go anywhere in WWE. He ended up with the dreaded stuttering gimmick.
Oh, gosh.
And he just didn't go anywhere. And then was over at TNA. Big guy, agile for a big guy. You know, not afraid to jump around.
Yeah.
You know, not a big guy as in, and not a big guy. When you say big guy, he's 7 foot. I think he's like 6'10" or 7 foot, but like muscular and athletic with it. Not like your big fat, greasy bellied tramp. But like his storylines never went anywhere. Like he was trying to get into the Main Event Mafia, and then the Main Event Mafia disappeared, and then like he had the thing with Hernandez, and then like he'd attack Hernandez, and then he'd have a new tag team partner every week and attack them. And this was at the time where TNA had an absolutely fantastic tag team division. They had the Motor City Machine Guns, they had Inc.
Yeah.
They had Beer Money, LAX, the British Invasion. They had about 10, 12, 15 tag teams at one stage, and it was a really, really competitive division, and they whittled that down to 2 tag teams, which was Kaz and Daniels and the Bromans.
At the minute, how's their tag division?
What we're looking at the moment then, I don't even know. You know what? I don't even know who the tag champions are.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm just trying to scratch my head because it was off the telly for such a long time. They haven't focused on it. So we've got Loki, who I interviewed not long ago. He's the X Division champion. Bobby Lashley, who's the world champion.
That's right.
And Gunnar and Abyss, who are in another faction. Surprise, surprise. So there's 2 bad guy factions. So we've got the Bray Wyatt copy, James Storm doing his whatever it's called, the whatever their group's called.
The Revolution.
The Revolution. So he's got him, Abyss, Manic, Sanada, and the new Indian guy in his little gang, and he's Bray Wyatting them.
Okay.
And then there's the Beatdown crew, which is MVP, Kenny King, Low Key, was Samoa Joe until about 2 days ago.
Which brings me on to Samoa Joe, because it's what we were going to talk about. The rumour mill about Samoa Joe. Where do you think he's going to go?
Probably PCW, first of all. Preston City Wrestling. I think Fludder will have him.
Yeah.
First of all, I think
for a brief time, or do you think he's going to hit?
I think Samoa Joe's first port of call is Preston City Wrestling, and then he'll do. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Who knows what he wants to do? He's earned enough money to have time off unless he spent it all on sweets. But
could happen.
Oh yeah, it could. Bloody hell! I had some fruit pastel sour patch things yesterday. They were very nice indeed.
Spent $1,000 on them.
Yeah, two clap on sweets. No, well, it depends what he wants to do, doesn't it? Depends what he wants to do. Obviously, he can go to Ring of Honor. He could probably just walk in there and be champion tomorrow if he wanted to. WWE.
Do you think they'll take him?
Ring of Honor or WWE?
WWE.
It depends, doesn't it? It depends.
What they could do with him.
Well, they could do whatever they want. I think what you have to remember, Mark, is a wrestling company can do whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? It's like, for instance, if WWE said to you, Mark, we're going to make you world champion, make you look like the strongest man alive.
I'd be like, are you sure?
No. They could do it. Obviously, they'd probably
more like David Arquette.
No, but
I understand.
But exactly, well, that's the whole thing, David Arquette. But they could make you look really strong if they wanted to, and they could get you over if they wanted to do whatever it is they want to do. Whether the crowd would take to it is a different kettle of fish. We were talking earlier on about the Daniel Bryan thing and about how the crowd are like desperate for him to be champion for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have anyone who looked like a goat as my world champion, in all fairness. If he shaved his...
Although they did it with Eric Young in TNA for a bit.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of stupid beards.
Sorry.
No, yours is all right because it's on your face. It's not on your belly button? Is it? I mean, let's face it, right? Let's face it. If Daniel Bryan was, let's say, for instance, a bin man and looked like that, do you reckon that whatever Bellator it is would want to be?
Want to be with Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
The bin man?
Yeah, with a massive goat beard.
Well, I don't know.
No, there you go. Right, so get rid of all stupid beards in wrestling. Okay, people who don't need
Bray
beards.
Wyatt?
Yeah, but that's the character, isn't it? If he turned up in a shirt in a suit and tie, it wouldn't be Bray Wyatt, would he? He'd be Michael McGillicuddy again, or whatever he was. Husky Harris.
I think
Husky Harris. There you go.
Curtis Axel, isn't it?
Yeah, he'd be Husky Harris again, wouldn't he? Going for a job interview. But it has to suit. No, beards. Anyway, where were we? Let's start ranting about stupid beards.
We were talking about Samoa Joe.
Oh yes. Well, he could come into WWE straight away. Like I know that you said about NXT, but
what do you think about NXT? Him going there?
It'd be
just to push some of the good guys that they've got at the minute.
So when you say push, I mean lose to them.
Just to have some incredible matches. If I'm quite honest.
Yeah, incredible matches. Yeah, but you can have an incredible match with anyone, anywhere, can't you? What's the point in having an incredible match on NXT when you can do it on Raw or SmackDown?
I'd prefer to see him against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens than against.
Okay, so he's probably. I would guess he's probably between the ages of 30 and 35 without looking at Wikipedia. Right, I would say I would say he's in the age range. Yeah. So let's say, for instance, he's 33 years old. Right? Yeah. Do you reckon he's going to be kicking around in NXT after just having 10 years at being at the top? Well, not being at the top in TNA, but having a 10-year run right on TVs all across the world, and then he's just going to kick it around in NXT. Fingers crossed that he doesn't get released from developmental. No, he can go to Ring of Honor, earn the same kind of money most likely. He can go to Japan and tour and wrestle there and have all, like you said, awesome matches with loads of awesome wrestlers in Japan. He can do all that. He can go on the independent circuit and name his price most likely.
Okay, before we move off TNA, have you seen this Grado tweet?
What, as in let him use Madonna's music?
Yes.
Well, if I was Madonna, I wouldn't. It's as simple as that. I just say no. It's my song. Pay me.
Hashtag say yes, Madonna. I think is.
Yeah, but it's pointless. As if that wasn't going to come out at some point. It's all right when he's wrestling in Shrewsbury Town Hall or whatever, when Madonna's never going to hear it. But when it starts going on American telly and stuff, and she's like, "Hang on a minute, that's I want the money."
Yeah.
Yeah. Or let me use your music.
So
no.
You think is that the issue? Is it money?
Well,
money related.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because you'd have to have permission to first of all permission to use it. But in a film, for instance, when what was the one with Danny Dyer in The Business? The Business, they wanted to use Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
And Axl Rose wanted $100,000, so they said no. So it's it's paying for the right to use it, isn't it? That's why wrestlers don't have proper music, if you know what I mean. Like I know Triple H has got Motorhead songs and
but some of them have got it.
Yeah, but that's because he does it for them, or they pay them to do it. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not going to get, I don't know, damn a wrestler, any wrestler, I don't know, Damien Mizdow or whatever, them coming down to Michael Jackson's Bad. They'd have to pay for the rights to.
I'd like to see that.
Well, I'm just an example. When you watch a film, for instance, it says, this is for home use only. You can't watch it at a school, oil rig, public broadcast, all that kind of stuff. It's all protected by copyright and law. So yeah.
Okay, moving from TNA to British wrestling, Phil.
Wrestling.
How do you think the British wrestling scene is at the minute?
It's really good.
Overall.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, especially if you take a look back to what it was 10 years ago, it's amazing. I mean, just only from my viewpoint, from 10 years ago, it was. It was. I mean, I used to watch LPW, so Leicester Professional Wrestling.
Yeah.
And they used to come to what was the Royal British Legion, which is now Stetchford Social or whatever it's called now, and there used to be guys like Ronin, Chris Stone, Gangster, Chris Charisma, Andy Shoes, The Bouncer, all those kind of guys, and that was my impression of British wrestling. Not saying that like those guys weren't any good, just saying that was my impression. But now, if you look now, it's I think it's, I don't know whether it's taken a lot more serious, but like there's a lot of amazing wrestlers out there, and I think also with the influx of having what's known as imports, or what you call it, imports. I mean, for instance, I was at Fight Club Pro with Stuart Rogers from the Indie Corner.
Of course.
Not last Friday, I think the Friday before, at the Planet nightclub in Wolverhampton, and they had Mandrews on, Rockstar Spud, and the Wolves, all on the bill. Dave Mastiff was there, the Hunters were there, Chris Brooks, Tyler Bate, Flash Morgan, Nixon Null. So that lineup in itself was
good strong card.
Massively. And I think if you look how good some of the British guys are, and how, I mean, it kind of joins into the American bit as well, because
the emphasis of TNA is boot camp.
Yeah,
I think has that made it stronger in Britain, or do you think it was just becoming more recognised?
Well, I mean, when I started watching, I mean, I've been watching wrestling for bloody hell, for probably 30 years, probably.
Yeah.
When British wrestling went away, and all that there was WWE, WWF. I always say WWE, WWF. And you had like WWF and WCW, and you had your one British man in WWF. So you had the Bulldogs, and then obviously
William Regal,
Dynamite Kid left unceremoniously because he was a bit of a twat by all accounts. So you had Dave Boy Smith in WWF. You had Stephen William Regal, whichever one, the man's man, Stephen Regal, whatever it was, in
with Sir William.
Whatever it was. I know when he came over to WWF, he was the man's man, Stephen Regal, I think, and he used to wear a tool belt to the ring and a hard hat. Yeah, I think so. Well, it was either one anyway.
Yeah.
So that, you had your tokens basically. They were your tokens. But now when you look at, for instance, NXT. As you look at it now, how many Brits there are or were in... Well, I mean, if you look to even to last year, the amount of British people who were there. So you had like Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Mason Ryan, Joel Redman, or Oliver Gray, as he was known there, Adrian Neville. Is Adam Rose British? I don't even know. He has loads of British people in his group, doesn't he? I could probably that was 7 I just named. Just then, you could name even more if I was concentrating. But if you look at TNA, for instance, you had Rob Terry, Doug Williams, Magnus. You've got Bram, Rockstar Spud, Mandrews. What's his face? Nigel McGuinness.
Grado.
He's not in TNA.
He's sort of in TNA. No, sort of pushing him a bit.
No, he's not going to get a contract or anything. No, but I'm talking like regulars.
Yeah, regulars.
People on deals. Martin Stone was in developmental. Rampage Brown developmental. So there's, I think I've just named 14. You know what I mean? Just named 14 guys there, like now, or not now, but in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You like named 14 people there.
In both the.
Yeah, just across the board, where we could only name 2 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's the standard of where British wrestling is. Obviously, you've got people like Fergal Devitt as well, or Finn Balor, or whoever it is, whatever it's called now. So there's
they're big in other places as well.
Yeah, and then you've got
Kevin Steen, there's Kevin Owens.
Yeah, exactly. So the British wrestling, or British wrestlers, have either improved dramatically, or
they're getting more publicity to be noticed.
Yeah. And as I said, 10 years ago that would never be the case. You wouldn't have 9 Brits running around in a wrestling company in North America at all. You wouldn't, but now you do, because they have the talent to do that, and It's only a good thing, and it's only a good thing for guys over here, because if you look at wrestlers in this country, people like Al Ligero, Martin Kirby, Tyler Bate, who's a promising young talent. Zack Sabre Jr. obviously probably doesn't count because he's over in Japan. Yeah. But that kind of standard and that kind of talent of people, British wrestling is growing. Unfortunately, again, I can only talk from my point of view. But all the shows that I go to in the Midlands, you only really get about 100, 150 people, which is a bit sad. I know Progress do like loads. I think I had like 700 at their last show, and I know that Preston sell, like, they do weekend shows, and I think they do like 2,000 odd tickets for their Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows, which is fantastic. You know, it's brilliant. And
would you say that they're probably the biggest in Britain?
Gotta be, because who else sells 2,000 tickets?
Exactly,
in the space, and I think it was in the space of an hour.
Is this where AJ Styles has been recently?
He was there.
Valentine's Day weekend. Or not was that a different one.
No, not just gone. That was like last year. That was the whole Lionheart thing, wasn't it?
No, he's been in England recently.
Oh, has he? I don't know. I don't know.
And Kazarian and Daniels, the wrestled.
They were at Southside. Was it Southside? Was that Southside?
That's another big one, right?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, I've never been.
They must be. They've got like three of the top.
Yeah, but then again, I just said then that Fight Club Pro had the Wolves, Spud, Mandrews. They'd have 4 people from TNA on their show. So, mind you, TNA were touring and they were here. So kind of.
Yeah, but they can't be cheap though, can they?
Well, the most expensive part of that is getting them over. Yeah. And I suppose because they were over, you don't have to pay their airfare to get here. They're already here. So if they're already here, you're right. You know,
rate's different probably. Yeah.
Well, you just have to pay them for what they want to wrestle. I mean, I suppose because you obviously you'll see. Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, like, you know, you have Alberto Del Rio who's coming over, whether he's going to wrestle for other companies and what they'll charge other companies to take him. Well, I don't know how the inner workings work, because no one's ever going to tell you. You know, no one's ever going to tell you exactly how it works. But you know, like you could, like for instance,
when we give Del Rio a prize steak and
exactly. Yeah, no, but like, you know. It's I think if 2 or 3 promotions are working together and he's over here for a week and then they'll split the airfare, I would imagine that would make the most sense. You split the airfare, you pay him what he wants for the show. So if he wants 300 quid per match or whatever it is, then he knows he's going to get 4 times 300 plus his airfare paid, and so it'll cost the show £300 plus a quarter of his airfare. Then lovely jubbly, and then you got to sell tickets based on that. But I mean, I watch a lot of Kamikaze Pro.
Yes,
I go to.
Is Ryan Smiles still their champion?
No, he lost to Hardcore Holly.
Honest?
He lost.
So is Holly sticking about?
No, because Hardcore Holly got beat within seconds by Robbie X, because Robbie X had like the Money in the Bank briefcase.
So they built it for so long. Smile the champion, and then
he was champion for like 400 days.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, and he lost to Hardcore Hollow.
I remember seeing like loads of imports, like him fighting loads like in a row. Imports and
well, it's I mean,
Juventud Guerrero, did he fight?
Juventud Guerrero. He fought. Who was the other? He's fought everyone.
Yeah,
he's fought everyone. To be honest, I think in Kamikaze, the guy Pete Dunne fights most of the big name imports, rather than Ryan. But the good thing about them is that, well, the good thing and the bad thing and the weird thing is that they have about 5 or 6 different venues, so they travel around,
move around,
like gypsies. But they've because I go to
Traveller.
Yeah,
Travellers.
Yeah, New Age Travellers. No, I go to all the different venues, and you'll see people who only go to that show. So, for instance, like
in their area.
Yeah, and then you'll see the people who go to every show.
Every show, yeah.
Yeah. So You've got the guy who looks like Tony Law. He's always there. You've got the guy who dressed like the French artist with the beret and a stupid tosh. He's always there. You've got there's a woman called Tony, and her and her sister go, and they take their 2 kids, and they're at every single show. And then you just get like the regulars, like my mate Frank, who only goes to the Stetchford one. So but they get about 100, 150 per show. So it's kind of like, I've always wondered if they had one big central one, would they get 600, 700 per show like Progress do? You don't know, but but I think they've got a nightclub in the centre of Birmingham.
This is what I wondered about.
And
British
they're starting in March, I think, or May. You have to check out on Kamikaze Pro on their Facebook page for more information.
Take a look, guys. Kamikaze Pro. They've got a Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
What I wondered about British wrestling, if everybody has all the great talent that seems to appear in like all the different like promotions, if they all sort of like
are you talking about like American
and have
people?
like one big British wrestling promotion with all the best guys,
mm-hmm.
Do you think Britain needs that, or do you think we do need all these separate companies?
But then
with all their different territories and stuff like that.
I see what you're saying, but like, so where would this one show happen?
Probably London, I guess that's essential.
Well, I ain't going to London to watch it.
True.
And I'm sure people from Newcastle aren't going to travel down to London to watch it.
If they had like a promotion that was on TV regularly in Britain,
mm-hmm.
and a load of the best guys were there, you think that would do a lot for British wrestling, or do you think that would have a negative impact to what we've got?
It would do certain, but then at the same time, like what you're doing there, you'd say you have a TV show and it would put the spotlight on British wrestling again, but it would only be a format like Raw or TNA where you can only have a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
And so,
who would you have? Who would your roster be?
Oh, I've already done it. I should have brought it, shouldn't I? Have me on next week, and we'll talk about my roster for a mate. But like there's hundreds of wrestlers. Excuse me. There's hundreds of wrestlers in there. So the problem is, you have like 30 or 40 guys on contracts on ITV. Then what about everybody else? Yeah. There's always going to be an independent show because people still have to make money, and people will still want to go and watch it live.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously we're Triple X Wrestling fans.
Yes, we are.
We are. The two of us.
I would say that's where we met, but we didn't meet there at all, did we? We met
on the comedy scene, believe it or not.
Down the road, probably. Was it in the Phoenix? It was in the Phoenix, literally about 4 doors down. That's where we first met. Oh God.
That's got to be. I don't know how many years ago that was.
5.
It feels like about 6. 10 years that I've known you.
Well, 2009 is when I started doing comedy. So around about then, 2009, isn't it? Yeah, so 6 years. 6 years, yeah.
If you're a fan of comedy, check out Phillip McCullough.
Yeah, I'll be somewhere.
Yes.
I'll be somewhere.
Name in YouTube.
Yeah.
Or,
oh yeah, YouTube. I can get some more subscribers on my YouTube page. I've got 10 subscribers. So yeah. So if I get one more, that's like 10% of my whole target. That was brilliant. Yeah, Phillip McCullough on YouTube.
But your YouTube doesn't completely reflect your comedy, does it?
No.
Like your comedy is a good. We're getting off the point, but you are a good comedian.
Thank you. Cheers. Let's get back to wrestling. Back to wrestling. Yeah. So Triple X.
Triple X Wrestling. Mm-hmm. We started basically doing hosting together.
Yep.
On there.
Yep.
We had a little sort of web show that started up, and
we did. Yeah. That was all
quality,
cool.
But it was a bit hard to organise.
It was.
And
yeah.
Stuff like that.
I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that show rather than just me and you talking about what's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Maybe eventually that, like if they keep going, we might do it again. You still do bits and bobs.
Yeah, the backstage stuff. Yeah,
backstage here
when
and
it's
there.
On.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which has come to a point. What happened? Triple X. Great little promotion. They got screwed over by the sounds of it.
I wouldn't want to say too much because I don't know.
Don't know the ins and outs.
I don't know the full. First of all, I don't know the full details, and secondly, I don't know if there's a resolution to it. But they had a show in November cancelled and a show in January cancelled, and from what I led to believe, it's down to the venue, nothing to do with the guys who run Triple X.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double booking situation.
I just think they were badly let down, and I think if anybody runs a venue and they don't know what's going on, or it's as an example, right? I'll give you an example, right? If their alcohol license was running out, I'm sure they would know about it and would do something about it.
Yeah.
So for them to go, oh well, we didn't know about this and we didn't know about that, it's bollocks.
Yeah, but just to let them know, like, so late in the game as well, like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
If you have situations arise like that you know about, a week would be enough time for Triple X to get another venue.
Yeah, and not have to let the fans down. No, yeah, of course, and and that's what I'm saying. It's all on their venue, because if you don't know what's going on in your own venue, then you're a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
But hopefully for Triple X Wrestling, they bounce back.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will. They've got,
I'm sure,
some good heads in charge. And guys, by the way, if you want to come down and have a chat, your side of the story through what's going on in Triple X Wrestling, more than welcome.
Ooh, well, there's only 2 seats in here though.
They can go in there.
Oh, okay. They can go in the cupboard room.
Sorry, guys.
In the
cupboard
room. In the cupboard room.
Me and Phil are staying here. Yeah, Phil. Thank you for coming on the Markout podcast, leaking the thoughts of the real wrestling fans.
Well, thank you for having me. That's very nice. We should do a phoning. Can you do a phoning from the studio?
There's a phone there. It might work.
Oh, okay. Well, next week's phoning then. Next week's phone or Twitter? Can you?
Please ask questions on Twitter.
Get it on Twitter. Let's have your roster recommendations for a national British wrestling TV show.
Nice.
Weekly 2-hour TV show. Who would be on the roster?